Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome into a brand new series where we're going to be taking a look at 5 players per position that the Jets could/should be targeting. This one, it's going to be cornerbacks, right? Episode 1, it's going to be all about the CBs, one of my favorite positions. So with that being said, let's dive in. And a quick little disclaimer before we hop into it, this isn't the top 5 corners on the market, top 5 available corners. This list was specifically designed for the New York Jets based off of system fit, based off of where the Jets are right now, based off of cap situations, current players on the roster. It was tailor-made for the Jets. And by the way, we also have a bonus one at the end, so let's dive in. Player number 1 on this list is obvious. Okay, you guys know exactly who we're about to talk about. All right, he's raved about Robert Saleh throughout the course of this hiring process. He's a Super Bowl champion, one of the most popular players in the NFL today. It's Richard Sherman. It's almost eerie how many dots you can actually connect when you're looking at a potential Sherman-Jets marriage. All right, number 1, not only does he just know the system and fit the system, but he's excelled in this system and essentially has built a Hall of Fame career playing in this cover 3, cover 4 system. Whether you want to talk about, with Robert Saleh in San Francisco or Pete Carroll, the Seattle Seahawks, the LOB, the Super Bowl championship, whatever, Richard Sherman will go down as one of the best cornerbacks ever. The good news for the Jets, we're going to be running the same exact system in New York next season. He's raved about Robert Saleh, right? He loves him. Not to mention he's 32 years old. He's seen a lot of football. He's had a lot of playing time and experience and success going up against some of the best quarterbacks to ever play. Multiple playoff wins. He'd be coming in not only with just so much knowledge and production playing in this system, but he can also help relay this information to the young guys. He's going to be coming in with a winning mentality, a winning attitude, knowing what a Super Bowl championship looks like, what a Super Bowl championship team looks like. Those are all, that doesn't show up on a stat sheet. It doesn't. But it needs to be talked about, right? It really, really does. It does so much for a young team, especially a team that hasn't had a lot of success in a long, long time. Okay, so Sherman checks a lot of different boxes, and he would be a great, great fit for the New York Jets. Cornerback number 2 on this list, one of my favorite players in the entire NFL, Shaquille Griffin of the Seattle Seahawks. Coming over at 26 years old, 6 feet tall, Shaquille Griffin, of course, he's a great system fit, running the cover 3 Pete Carroll system for the last couple of seasons, doing pretty well, right? Starting outside cornerback, really, really good at detecting the ball midair, flocking to the football as well, really good instincts, just an overall a solid player. He's not an elite player. He's not a top 5 corner, a top 10 corner in this league. But when I look at what Pete Carroll and the Seattle Seahawks defensive coaching staff has put on Griffin's plate, right, they have asked a lot of him. They give him a lot of responsibility. Coming in as a 3rd round pick out of UCF, trying to fill the shoes of the LOB, they were kind of in that transition period. Griffin has done an admirable job. An admirable job. He's done a tremendous job, all right? I really think Griffin can come in and be a great, great cornerback for this team. So I would be totally, totally excited if the New York Jets were to land Shaquille Griffin. Cornerback number 3 on this list, we're going back to the Bay, San Francisco, K'Wan Williams. All right, now the first thing that needs to be brought up when you're talking about Williams is that he's a slot guy. 5'9", he's a traditional slot cornerback. And there's been some rumors, there's been some rumblings with Brian Poole being on a 1-year contract that he might not be back. That he might not be back with the Jets. So what better replacement? Because Brian Poole's a beast. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not, think to ourselves, okay, well, since he was on a 1-year contract, since he might not be back with the team next year, that he's some scrub or he can't play. That's completely false. Brian Poole's one of the best slot cornerbacks in the NFL. And by the way, if the Jets were to bring him back, I'd be delighted. But in the case that they don't, an absolutely incredible insurance policy, a plan B, would be to bring in K'Wan Williams. K'Wan Williams has played at times like a Pro Bowl cornerback. Under Robert Saleh, he is the unsung hero of that defense. Go talk to any 49ers fans. Hey, what are your thoughts on K'Wan Williams, right? Coming over from Cleveland, didn't really have that high of expectations, but all in all, you're looking at what Williams has done in San Francisco. He's done so much. You can even watch what the players say about him, what the coaches say about him in interviews. He is, I don't want to say he does the dirty work of the defense because he's a nickel cornerback, and that's a huge position in today's league with everything kind of going into more of a spread looks and stuff like that. But I mean, you're looking at what Williams can do. It's it's top notch, right? I truly believe K'Waun Williams is a top 8, top 10 slot cornerback in this league, set to hit the open market. Has that experience with Robert Saleh. Even if we would have, even if we kept Gase. Even if we would have kept Gase and we let Brian Poole walk, I would have loved K'Waun Williams. Now we have Robert Saleh as our head coach. It just makes the fit even better. Cornerback number 4 on this list is probably one of the most underrated, if not the most underrated cornerback in the entire National Football League. It's J.C. Jackson of the New England Patriots. The first thing that needs to be brought up when you're talking about J.C. Jackson is the fact that he's a restricted free agent, okay? So everything is pretty much the same. Teams can still reach out. They can make offers. The only difference is that New England has an opportunity to match the offer. And then I believe if he does, opt to sign with whoever, is making the offer, in this case, it's the Jets, the Pats, I believe, will get some sort of compensatory picks. All right, but when you're looking at Jackson as a player, 6'1", around 200 pounds, complete interception machine. All right, he had 3 picks in 2018, 5 picks in 2019, and then in 2020, this past season, he had 9 interceptions, 9 picks. Okay, so it's clear, it's evident. J.C. Jackson has a knack for finding the football. He's looked really good in these, when New England does want to run zone. I think his size translates really well to the Robert Saleh system. Nobody's talking about J.C. Jackson as even an above average cornerback. I feel like his name isn't even brought up ever. And I don't understand it. I don't get it. Maybe it's because he was undrafted. Who knows? I think J.C. Jackson to the New York Jets makes a lot of sense. The 5th and final cornerback on this list, last but definitely not least, is Jason Verrett, right? Again, another San Francisco 49er cornerback. And you could be asking yourself, how many of these 49er corners are going to, are set to hit the open market? And the answer is a ton of them. I want to say almost every one. Like even Ahkello Witherspoon's a free agent. The Niners have their work cut out for him as far as, personnel on that side of the football, cornerback specifically. But man, Jason Verrett, I loved him at TCU, has solid size, but he's definitely had an up and down NFL career. He's never really been elite. But really the thing with Jason Verrett is this. If he's healthy, he will produce. I really liked Verrett when he was coming out of TCU. I thought he was one of those cornerbacks that had a high floor. I never really thought he was going to be elite or anything like that, but I loved him in coverage. But he was always just one of those guys that I felt like was you could put him on anybody, and nobody's ever going to burn Jason Verrett, right? He's always going to go out there, give you a solid effort. He's never going to be elite. He's never going to be the top cornerback in the league or Jalen Ramsey or whoever, but he was always going to be solid. He, former first-round pick here, goes to the Chargers and just has an injury-riddled career. The thing is with Jason Verrett, when he's playing, he's pretty good. Right, he's pretty damn good. We have to be honest with ourselves. And the 49ers kind of they took a flyer on him, right? And it worked. So I think all in all with Jason Verrett, the focus point should be keeping him healthy. Now, obviously that we can't really control that, especially as fans here. We can't control that. It would be the hope that he stays healthy. But if he's out there on the field, getting snaps, practicing, everything's perfectly fine, he will produce. He will be a very good cornerback for whatever team he goes to. Maybe he re-signs in San Francisco. Okay, so Jason Verrett is a guy who I feel like the Jets can maybe bring in on a relatively cheap contract as well. So that's the list. Those are the top 5 cornerbacks that the New York Jets should be targeting this upcoming March, right, next month. But I mentioned before that we have a bonus one, right? And this one was kind of a dark horse. I just wanted to throw it in, and I think I'm going to be doing this with all of these different, these positional free agent videos, just adding in a bonus at the end. And again, I'm not going to throw out like Patrick Peterson or, one of these big name guys, just a completely under the radar guy that might spark a level of interest. And for me, it's going to be Artie Burns, another first round pick. All right. But I remember him back at Miami. He was a really fast cornerback, right? Extremely athletic guy who has just had a knack for finding the football while the ball was in the air, right? Just that's where he excelled. Zone coverage in Miami. And then obviously the NFL career just has not gone the ball hasn't bounced in his favor at all. But maybe he signs a really, really cheap contract, like a minimum deal with the Jets, because he is coming off of an injury. And Robert Saleh can, get the best out of him, just like he did with Jason Verrett. I mean, look at all these different guys. K'Wan Williams, we mentioned him before. He came over from Cleveland. Richard Sherman came over from Seattle. Jason Verrett comes over from LA. Same kind of guy. Ex-first round pick, up and down, or just didn't really work out. Injuries. Boom. All of a sudden, Jason Verrett had a really, really nice season. So maybe Artie Burns is just another guy to look at. And, you know, obviously I'm not saying he's going to come in and be the guy or he should be cornerback 1 here or anything like that. But just a name to keep your eye on. So I'll leave it there. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for sticking with this channel. And as always, go Jets.